All right, Brianna, thank you. Well, today at noon, we're learning more about a deadly house explosion in American Fork and the investigation underway right now to determine what caused it. Photojournalist Eric Peterson and news specialist Kara Bracken have been following this since it first happened and joins us live now. So, Kara, what's the update today?
Well, Shara, this morning we watched as Dominion Energy as well as American Fork Fire. They've been working on what is left of this duplex behind me. They're trying to figure out those questions and those answers, of course, of what exactly happened, which they say could be another week before they figure out exactly what did. This morning, we reached out to Dominion Energy, who sent us this statement, quote, "Today, Dominion Energy continues to work closely with investigators to determine the cause of the fatal explosion at a duplex in American Fork, Utah. We appreciate your patience as we work diligently to gather all the information needed for the ongoing investigation." This follows hearing from the survivor's family, who tells KSL crews had been in the area Tuesday. The company says it was for routine maintenance. Miraculously, the family of the woman who survived says she is okay, having suffered minor burns.
My mom's a feisty little thing, so I'm not surprised that she survived, but she has no clue how she made it out.
Her family tells us she was able to retrieve some belongings, including a few sentimental items since the explosion. Also recall a dog that made it out alive hours after the explosion.
When he came out of that house, I was like, where did he come from? Like, it's unbelievable. And then, yeah, he was wet, covered in insulation and debris.
We're told that dog belonged to the explosion victim. American Fork Fire says they're continuing to make contacts before releasing the woman's name who didn't make it. Now, a neighbor does tell us that those who were displaced because of this home's impact, they are staying with some family and friends. For now, they're reporting live in American Fork. I'm Kara Bracken. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, Kara, thank you for the update there. New developments in a death investigation in Brigham City. The road.
7 vetoes, 2 line item vetoes, and 2 bills he's letting go into law without his signature. That's the information we just got from Governor Spencer Cox. I'll have the full story straight ahead.
This is breaking news.
Details coming up in just a couple of minutes.
All right, Kevin, we'll see you in just a bit. Thank you. Well, Governor Spencer Cox has several bills he's vetoing, and we just got that list within the last half hour. News specialist Lindsay Aerts joins us now live. And Lindsay, I think the big question is how many bills are on that list?
Yeah, Ashley, 7 to be exact. 7 vetoes, 2 line items, and 2 bills the governor is going to let go into law without his signature. Now, I don't know how this compares to a lot of years past, but I can tell you last year there were 0 bills vetoed, so 7 is a pretty significant number. Now, this morning, as Governor Cox talked in his monthly news conference, we learned about 2 controversial bills that he has signed. The first of those requires the Salt Lake County District Attorney to report how his prosecutors spend their time, and specifically Sim Gill's office must do things like report their time in 15-minute increments. Now, this bill also allows the governor or others overseeing downtown's reinvestment to recommend that Gill be replaced. Now, the other bill that he has signed now will help keep open a coal-powered Intermountain power plant in Delta. The plan would be to sell it to the state, who hopes a buyer will step in so it can't be shut down. But there has already been agreement with the Federal Protection Agency the Environmental Protection Agency for it to close to satisfy environmental needs. Now, both of these bills, Cox got a lot of calls to veto them. However, he is not vetoing those 2. As for more about what he did veto, we'll have that coming up at 6:30. But largely this morning, he said several of these bills were just not necessary.
We often get bills that could have been a phone call. You know, we work very closely with you. Just call us. If you need this information, you don't have to put it in a bill. We'll give you the information.
Now, Cox also railed on how many bills the legislature passed, 591 to be exact. He said that was too many, but he doesn't just veto haphazardly, because he says he needs to be able to compromise with legislators so that some of his agenda items can get tackled as well. Now, coming up at 6:30, we'll dive deeper into this list of 7, the bills that Governor Cox has vetoed. Again, we know it's 7 right now, so we'll have more for you coming up at 6:30 tonight. For now, live at 5, I'm Lindsay Aerts. Back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, police in Idaho say...
You're watching KSL News at 6.
Welcome back. Developing right now, we are learning more about that fatal home explosion in American Fork.
The blast claimed the life of one woman and injured another.
It's a miracle. My mom's a feisty little thing, so I'm not surprised that she survived, but she has no clue how she made it out.
Pretty incredible here. The survivor is healing from her minor burns. She has even been able to reclaim some sentimental items from all that rubble. And as for the dog who wandered out in the flames or out of those flames, we have been told that it belongs to the victim. American Fork Fire says it continues to make contacts before they will release the name of the woman who did not make it out alive, and that the cause could take a week to determine. Those displaced by the explosion are said to be staying with family members right now.
Well, the Idaho manhunt involved the murders.
Governor Spencer Cox has announced he is vetoing 7 bills from the legislative session. He's also letting another 2 take effect without his signature.
News specialist Lindsay Aerts has more on what did and didn't make the cut.
Now, one of these bills creates a cybersecurity training for state employees, and Governor Cox says that training already exists. He says if there's changes that are needed, they are happy to do that, and they welcome that conversation. That's an example of where he says some of the bills that he vetoed just weren't necessary.
We often get bills that could have been a phone call.
Governor Spencer Cox says some of the bills he's vetoing don't need to be laws.
We work very closely with you. Just call us. If you need this information, you don't have to put it in a bill. We'll give you the information.
He also said the legislature passed too many bills at 591.
It's really easy to just say, hey, just, flippantly veto bills. Just get rid of a bunch of them. And the minute I do that, nothing I would like to get passed gets passed.
The governor has until midnight to sign or veto the rest of this year's batch, or they automatically become law. Earlier today, he did reveal 2 contentious bills getting his signature. One requires only Salt Lake County's district attorney's office to report how prosecutors spend their time. Specifically, Simgill's office must do things like report their time in 15-minute increments.
I think there's deep concern about what we've seen with some of the policies impacting homelessness, the crime in parts of the city.
Him being a Democrat, your party and the Republicans sort of taking aim at his office. Why should people view this any other way as political?
I think there are several reasons. This year, we have more investments going into to Salt Lake City than at any time in our state's history. I think it's fair for them to want to receive information.
In a statement, Gill says we are disappointed, especially after multiple requests to veto. He adds, we are hopeful that the delayed implementation will provide time to answer how the requirements requested are connected to the outcomes the legislature seeks. The other bill Cox is signing would help keep a coal-powered Intermountain power plant in Delta open. The plan would sell it to the state, who hopes a buyer will step in so it can't be shut down. But there's already an agreement with the Federal Environmental Protection Agency for it to close.
If there are opportunities to keep those facilities running, we're going to want to exhaust every possibility out there, making sure that we're complying with the environmental regulations that are in place and seeing if we can thread that needle.
And the governor says changes to this and other laws could still be coming.
There's a possibility of a special session to make some tweaks to the law. More than anything, we just want to make sure that we get this right.
Now, Cox says that special session would likely happen before July of this year. Now, there are also 2 bills he let go into law without his signature. Cox says those bills had overwhelming support. Reporting in Salt Lake City for KSL-5 News, I'm Lindsay Aerts.
Lindsay, thank you. New today, tech powerhouse Apple is facing a civil and